People don't really need to know what's going on. No, he is absolutely the opposite of that. People absolutely need to know what's going on, and we need strong leaders. We need pastors to be kind of like Sheriff Grady Judd, be bold about this thing. So I hope he encourages you today. Would you please welcome Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my friend. It is truly my honor to be your sheriff, but it's a greater honor to be a Christian. Amen. Now, I want to give a disclaimer before I start this presentation. This presentation has some pretty rough spots in it, okay? But we have to speak straight. We have to let you know the way it is. We are going to show a video, and I'll probably give another disclaimer at the end, where a guy is shot and killed in a church after he shoots and kills someone in a church. And you'll see it shockingly as it is. Now, we're not going to look at this once, but we're going to look at it 2 or 3 or 4 times. Because the first time you're going to see the shock and awe of it occurring. But we want to break that down so you can see what was the response of the people. How did they respond? And what would have happened had there not been someone well-trained there with a firearm? So that is going to be a lesson in and of itself. But I appreciate your calling to guide the flock of God. Everyone here understands that true commitment isn't limited to fair weather moments. It carries us through all seasons of joy and those of challenge. Scripture reminds us that while we trust in God, we're also called to be wise and watchful and prepared. And today is one of those moments when love for one another calls us to have a difficult but important conversation. The phrase active shooter has become more common in our world, and while we pray we never face such a situation, being prepared is one way we steward the lives of God entrusted to us. Amen. And that's why we're presenting today. So today, I'm going to take a few moments to talk pretty straight with you. Not a place from fear, but a place from faith, from wisdom, and for concern for our church family. I want you to think about this. If you follow the different church shootings, and certainly the synagogues have been specifically targeted, that's not acceptable. Trust me when I say one of the safest places to work, to live, is Polk County. Our crime is at a 54-year low. But listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. A traditional criminal doesn't do this. Let me give you in Polk County vernacular who does this. A nut. Someone who's mentally deranged. Someone who's very scary. And they're going to wander into your church and there's going to be big problems. We've had an active shooter in a church in this county. And certainly we've had many other threats. In fact, he shot 2 ministers while they prayed at the front of the church years ago. This sense of safety is a blessing because it is safe in this community. It's never, ever been as safe as it is right now. But it also makes conversations about emergency preparedness feel uncomfortable or unnecessary. There are those that just absolutely live in a state of denial. And quite frankly, if you think about it, if you want to play statistical probabilities, you don't have to do anything. Because the statistical probabilities of somebody coming into your church and shooting or creating a disruption are very, very, very tiny. But how many of you would risk your children or your flock to statistical probabilities? When it happens to you, it's 100%. So, think about this. Preparedness is an act of wisdom, not fear. Ecclesiastes 7:12 tells us wisdom preserves those who have it. It is no longer a question of if, but when someone comes to another church in the United States. Now we're going to show a video, and this occurred in Pennsylvania in May of 24.
For terrifying moments inside of a local church during Sunday services, a man walks up to the pastor with a gun and allegedly pulls the trigger. Thankfully, that gun apparently jammed, and the man was then tackled to the ground. You're watching all that unfold on your screen. And now on your screen, we're getting our first look at the suspect, 26-year-old Bernard Polite.
Think about that for a minute. As I said before, and I'm going to say it several times, this is not just a criminal. This is not somebody who wants a ransom or a kidnapping. This is not somebody who's going in there because he's mad at his girlfriend's dad and wants to shoot him. These people are mentally deranged. They plan these things in advance. And they can and will find a way into the house of worship. Why? Because we open our doors to everyone. That's what we do in churches and synagogues and all houses of worship. Now let's talk about this last weekend in Davenport, Florida, February the 8th. We responded to Church of Jesus Christ on Dunson Road in Davenport. This guy, he's 36 years old, is Joshi Rodriguez Valentin. He's from Indiana. He came into the church and identified himself as the Archangel, and he disrupted the normal flow of the church by yelling and all kinds of erratic statements. This last weekend, he didn't have a gun. That's the only thing that stopped us from having an active shooter. And then he was encouraged to leave. He took off in his car. And we found him in his car. He had all this crazy writing on it. We were able to confirm that this had all occurred from February the 5th. When we located him, he was placed in custody. He was irate. He was agitated. He had this unusual behavior toward law enforcement. He pushed and fought with our deputies, and he continued to yell, "Is this the police? I walk with monks." We had to tase him. He was charged with disrupting a religious assembly, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting arrest with violence, resisting arrest without violence, and disorderly conduct. Valentin stated that he intended to go to more churches for unknown reasons. Now listen, folks, we're in the process right now of mailing out information because this guy can bond out, maybe very well, maybe out of jail now, but will be out if he's not. He is likely to show up at one of your churches. Does he show up next time with a gun? He's violent. He resisted us. We were blessed that at that church at that time they were able just to get him out of the door. That was last weekend, last Sunday. Now take a moment to think about your church family, the daily ministries, the fellowship, the open doors, the welcoming spirit. It all defines who you are as a God-fearing person, as a God-fearing church. But then the worst happens, like the recent event in Minneapolis, when a 23-year-old previous student opened fire in a church that killed 2 children and injured 17. Let's watch that video clip and see the horribleness.
NBC4's Conan Nolan is in the newsroom now with those breaking new details. Conan.
Right, of the 14 students that were injured, they ranged between the ages of 6 and 15. 3 adults were also injured. They're in their 80s. They were parishioners of the Catholic Church where this took place. Police held a news conference just moments ago. They're still reviewing the evidence here. They believe he acted alone. He targeted this church. They're still looking for a motive. Outside what was to have been the third day of school, parents in the agonizing wait to reunite with their children. Among the survivors, 10-year-old Weston Housney.
I was like 2 seats away from the stained glass windows. So they were like, the shots were like right next to me.
It took place in a house of God. The congregation, predominantly young students from the adjoining elementary school, taking part in the sacrament of Mass at Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis. Just minutes into the service, a man dressed in black and heavily armed opened fire through the church windows.
I just ran under the pew, and then I covered my head. My friend Victor saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit.
Maddie Brandt was passing the school when the shooting started.
She called me hysterical, and the first thing she said is, "Mom, I'm safe, but something really bad is happening."
Neighbor Bill Bienman,
I know what gunfire sounds like.
lives 2 blocks away.
I was shocked. I said there's no way that could be gunfire. There was so much of it.
Police arrived moments later and found the gunman dead after having taken his own life, but not before shooting 19 of those inside the church, most of them children.
2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition.
Police have identified the shooter as Robin Westman, 23 years old. They say Westman was armed with a rifle, shotgun, and pistol. NBC News reporting that Westman had posted videos online that referenced suicide, extremely violent thoughts, and a sketch of a church interior. Police have yet to release a motive. President Trump posting that the FBI responded to the shooting quickly and asking the country to pray with him for everyone involved. Jacob Frey is the mayor of Minneapolis.
Don't just say this is about thought.
Yeah. I want you to think about this for a minute.
Thoughts and prayers right now. These kids.
Babies praying in pews while a monster is shooting through the church stained glass windows at them. Babies are supposed to not even think. They're supposed to be not even have a thought about being hurt. And here they're interviewing a 10-year-old child who was ducking as the bullets were coming in over his head. And listen to me, I sit on the Marjory Stoneman Douglas Commission. We investigated the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. Despite the fact that they've shot into synagogues and churches and schools, there are still those who say, we don't want guns, we don't want violence. We had one parent who had her child murdered, and Marjory Stoneman Douglas stand up in a commission meeting and said she still didn't want well-trained people on campus with guns to protect children after her child was murdered. So I'm telling you, if you're waiting for 100% compliance for your church to agree with security, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to talk later. There can be security and it not be visible so that it doesn't frighten those people that are in just total denial about the whole event. But think about it. Being thoughtful about safety does not mean we're losing our trust in God. It means we're taking seriously our role as shepherds, watching over the flock. You know, Peter writes, be shepherds of God's flock that is under your care, watching over them. Watching over them is spiritual. Our next slide talks about a 20-year review the FBI compiled from 2000 to 2020. There were 333 active shooter incidents, 345 shooters. 16 of the shooters wore body armor. There were 2,851 people killed, not counting the shooter themselves, in those events. 70% occurred in a business or a school. The rest of them, a few, occurred in houses of worship, only 15. So here's what I share, and I've cut out really a day-long training to about an hour here. If people are mad at UPS or at the boss at UPS or to the co-workers at UPS, they don't go to the local church or school and shoot. But if they're mad at the church or the synagogue or the house of worship of any description because they wouldn't give me food, they wouldn't give me clothes, they wouldn't give me this. My wife goes to church instead of staying home with me. That's when they go shoot up a church. They're showing up, listen to me, they're showing up to me, or they're showing up to shoot years later. Not just the next week after they're mad. So you think about in all of your houses of worship, occasionally you've had to just tell somebody, brothers and sisters, we can't do this, or we can't continue to do this. Oh, it was 3 years ago. That doesn't mean they're not going to show up next week and shoot up the church. Some of this rage is pent up in them for years before they react. Since this report came out between 2000 and 2020, there have been 6 more houses of worship attacked by active shooters. If you're not prepared, people die. Let me say that again. If you're not prepared, people die. Here's the data. Here's the facts. 69% of active shooter incidents where the duration of the event could be determined as we study each and every event ended in 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less. The police response is plus 5 minutes. We will never be there in time to prevent the active shooter from occurring, because the 911 call comes in when they arrive, when they start shooting. Then we have to dispatch the call, and the deputies or officers have to respond. Then we have to find the shooter, and people have died. I don't have the data with me today because, once again, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, in the first 48 seconds, 38 seconds, something like that, he shot 12 kids in less than 30 seconds. You've got to respond immediately. Listen, folks, when seconds count, minutes don't matter. We'll never be there in time. So if you have a police official stand up and say, you know, if you just lock the doors and hide under the pews, we'll get there and save the day, he's just lying to you. We'll get there as quick as we can. We may get there in time to mitigate some of it, but we won't get there before a lot of people die. That's a scary thought. And watching the aftermath unfold on television and hearing these numbers can be frightening. It's unfortunate that we even have to talk about this. Yet these active shooter situations are becoming more and more prevalent in today's society. And we as first responders and community leaders alike must prepare. We have the ability to positively affect the outcome. So how do we prepare? We begin by creating a sense of urgency. We refuse to have a culture of complacency. Complacency and failure to prepare will result in people being hurt and killed. You're the catalyst that creates the culture, the responsibility, the accountability, the preparedness. And all of this is called target hardening. Now let's watch this video that deals with our response to an active shooter. This is an FBI film, well done, Run, Hide, Fight. It's about 4 minutes long, but look at this for just a minute and see, first off, there is no one training system or process. And the Run, Hide, Fight is for individuals there. Now, we don't want the very well-trained armed person to run and hide. We want them to fight while everybody else runs and hides. But this is how individuals should act, and this is how training should be, and this is what we do.
Hi, can I get you started with drinks?
Oh, sorry, I gotta take this.
We'll need a minute.
Hey, you need to back up. You can't be here. Get out of my face. What, you think I'm afraid of you? Get off, man! Understood.
Empty hands up, follow their instructions.
I'm in a direct line of fire if I head for either exit. But I have other options to help me survive. Guys, come on, in here. Go. Lock and barricade the door.
Shooter. I gotta stay hidden. I'm no victim. I'm ready for this.
He's applying direct pressure to the wound to stop the bleeding until we can find a tourniquet. In the meantime, turn off your phones and make a plan to defend yourself.
Control the shooter. I'll go for the gun. He'll go for his arms. The bartender will go for the head.
Where is he?
We got him right here.
Please, show your hand.
Over here.
You can survive a mass shooting if you're prepared. Remember, run, hide, or fight. Run. Wherever you go, be aware of alternate exits. Quickly and cautiously evacuate in a direction away from the attacker. Don't hesitate. Seconds matter. Remember windows and emergency exits. Leave belongings behind. Keep your empty hands raised and clearly visible when exiting a building. Follow all instructions from the police. Don't stop until you're sure you've reached a safe location. Hide. If there is no safe escape route, find a good hiding place. Lock and barricade the door. Silence cell phones. Prepare a defense plan. Fight. Fight only as a last resort. Use available objects as improvised weapons. Use teamwork and surprise. A coordinated ambush can incapacitate an attacker. You're fighting for your life. Don't fight fair. Stop the bleed. A victim can die of uncontrolled blood loss in 5 minutes or less. Apply pressure or a tourniquet to control severe bleeding. Go to fbi.gov/survive to learn more.
Now let me break down some of this. There's going to be individuals, especially in a church, that may not be as mobile as others. So you may need to try to help them escape. But there may be times where you just have to run and worry about yourself. And that's one of the hardest things that there's going to be, is that at that moment in time, you have got to make the decision based upon what you know. Some individuals in society, when introduced with that level of stress or fear, freeze up. And they can't react. They can't move. Their brain's trying to process what's actually happening and what's the best course of action. So don't spend a lot of time trying to convince an individual that the event's real and they need to run if you're in the process of being shot and killed yourself. The next slide that they talked about is hide, concealment. Now, concealment, as we know it, is some physical material that will hide you from another's views, like a curtain or a shrub. But cover is a physical material that could stop or disrupt a bullet's path. And that's obviously the best. If you can get away, the more distance you have between you and the shooter, the more likely you'll not be hit or not be significantly hit. When bullets strike a material that slows the bullet down, breaking it apart, changing its path, people survive. Put any kind of material you can between you and the shooter. Even if you've previously identified a safe location to hide, or to find a place to hide during the event, lock the door, barricade the door with as many objects as you can. Have barricaded materials pre-positioned if that's possible, and we all know that's just not possible most of the time. But I want to suggest this to you. In the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, the shooter did not shoot anybody he couldn't easily see. Let me say that again. He did not shoot anybody that he could not easily see because he knew he had to operate quick. He didn't have time to go hunt people up. He was shooting and moving to the rooms and the classrooms where he could see people. If you have to fight, you have to prepare yourself mentally in advance. Now keep in mind, when we talk about this run, hide, fight, I'll be the first to tell you, you can't go tell this to some people in your church. You'll scare them to death and they won't come back. So this all has to be balanced. But if you have to fight, you have to fight. Someone who's willing to kill you or stop at nothing. And sometimes you just have to make arrangements for them to meet God and let Him sort it out when they get there. Understand that having the mental capacity to face extreme violence with force doesn't make you a violent person. It makes you a survivor. As soon as the assailant's actions are disrupted by any means of a counterattack, statistics show us that the attackers become distracted and most likely will end their plan to kill. They may even kill themselves or escape at that point. And I'll tell you something that I've seen over and over and over, and I've seen video clips now that we have them. When the shooter comes with a gun, he expects to be the only one with a gun. He expects everybody to cower down, and he's going to be in total control, and he's going to shoot people. I'll promise you this, because I've seen it, I've witnessed it. When you shoot somebody, it modifies their behavior immediately. Their original plans mean nothing to them in the future. You don't have to even shoot them with a big, bad gun, because Most of them are not warriors and will fly, and have the ability to fight through even a 22 bullet shot. When you shoot somebody, it immediately modifies their behavior and changes their priorities from attack to survive on the other side of the equation. You can't negotiate with this active shooter. They've already planned and made up their mind. Let me give you a little idea of what type of person we're dealing with when we talk about an active shooter. Now, I'm going to talk about TJ Lane. He shot 3 students at his high school in 2012. A teacher charged him during the incident and caused TJ to flee. Here's a short video of TJ during his sentencing hearing, but before I play that, I want you to understand it's nasty, okay? But this guy now is with an attorney in court. He comes in wearing a blue button-up shirt. You'll be able to see his attorney trying to talk to him. There's family members there because it's the sentencing. And I want you to see his reaction to the family members. I want you to see his psychopath look in his eye. I want you to pay attention to all of this. Now, this is the guy that we've caught after he did all this shooting. But watch this. He looks like a child, a kid.
All rise. The Geauga County Court of Common Pleas is now in session. The Honorable David L. Peary presiding.
Please be seated. This is the case of the State of Ohio against Thomas M. Lane, case 12C58. Here this morning, on behalf of the State of Ohio is Prosecutor James Flays. Mr. Flays, could you please introduce your table?
Thank you, Your Honor. To my left is Nicholas Berlin, Geauga County Assistant Prosecutor, Mark Bartolotto, Geauga County Assistant Prosecutor, and from the Lake County Prosecutor's Office, Karen Colwell.
Thank you, and you can take it from where you sit. You can make it seated where you are, if you would. Take your time. That's all your client has to say, Mr. Friedman.
Yes, Your Honor. So they asked him if he had anything to say before it. And I'm going to read what he said. Most of him is, this is him that pulled the trigger, that killed your sons, now masturbates to the memory. F all of you. That's what he said. That was his statement before the court before he got sentenced to die. If that guy is out, he will come to your church. He will come to your home. He will not only shoot you or kill you, he will enjoy it. So what's important here, and the reason I show this is not to, it is to shock you, but when he walks in with that blue shirt on, he looks like anybody's kid. You look at people from the outside in and you think, oh, the nice little fella, the poor little fella, and all of that. This is not a traditional criminal. This is an enraged, radical killer. and he looks like a child. Did you see the lack of emotion and compassion he failed to display? His disgusting reference to the killing? The ugly thing he said to the mother and father and family of the children that he murdered? So I encourage you to go back to your churches and take a mental inventory. Ask the what ifs. What if someone armed stormed into this church, into this building? What would I do? Where are the exits? Is there a good place to fight? Would I fight back? Do I have a security plan to protect all of the folks that trust me to be their shepherd? If you say it'll never happen here, that's a very dangerous statement. I want to show you this. This is West Nickel Mines, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's an Amish community. These are plain and gentle people. It was a one-room wood schoolhouse. It was not in 1946. It was in 2006. The town had 3,000 people. They had no violent crime rate. An active shooter went in this wooden schoolhouse and slaughtered innocent Amish children. If it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. It wasn't downtown New York City or Los Angeles or Chicago. It was an Amish schoolhouse in the middle of the country. And then there's Sandy Hook in Newtown, Connecticut. The mean income was $109,000 at the time. The population was only 27,000. It had a very, very low crime rate, and they went in and slaughtered children in an elementary school. Now I want to show you what an active assailant event looks like when the good guys have guns too. This is a video from a Texas church shooting which occurred in December of 2019, just 7 months after the Texas legislation was passed allowing concealed carry in a place of worship. I want to add this before we start. I remember as a young deputy, when I would go to church on Sunday, I would leave my gun in the car because we weren't going there to do some shooting. We were going to do some praising and worshiping God. I can remember when it would be offensive to wear a gun in a church. I also remember when it was a different time. Social media encourages, enables, grooms those that are already mentally ill and dangerous. Now, when I play this, I'm going to give you this disclaimer again. It is very violent. You need to see it. And the first time you watch it, look in the top left corner as the guy gets up and walks over and starts the conversation. Then I'm going to play it again and again because I want you to see different pieces of how people responded or didn't respond, and the difference in the outcome because they had a security team of their members, okay? He walked up to one of, I don't know if it was a deacon, I don't know if he was there, if he was one of the folks collecting the offering. He pulled out the gun. As he brought the gun up, there was an armed person there but he was slow on the uptake, and he got shot first. The guy with the gun gets shot first. You know, there's the fast and the dead, okay? So he took out the guy with the gun. He took out the original person he was going to shoot. A backup came and shot him across. I mean, it was a heck of a shot, by the way. One shot and stopped the threat. He stopped the threat. There's a lot of messages in just that. Okay, 2 people died. If the guy with the gun had been quicker, but he's not from the police trained world, you've got to convince yourself that what you're seeing is occurring, and then I'm going to have to shoot this guy, and then we're in church. All of these emotions flood in. If that guy had been quicker, there'd have been 1 dead person. But there was only 2 dead people because they had a security team. Now, I want you to kind of ignore that. And when we back it up, I want you to look at how folks reacted in the church here. And when you see how the people reacted in the church here, understand if the security team hadn't have been here and he fired that first shot, which would have been, and we'll call him our deacon, then he would have turned around and you would have seen how easy it would have been for the next 5 minutes before the cops arrived, and how many people he could have killed. So disregard the shooting for a second. Look into the church pews when we do it again. How many people ran out? 3 or 4? Some stood up to see what was happening. The others, the natural response is to get down. But he could have picked them off. Let's look at it one more time. And one lady's over here screaming and running in circles. But even those responses were after the shooting occurred. Watch the crowd once more. Three or 4 leave. Some stand up and look. They squat down. That's how fast it occurs. It took 2 seconds for the good guy with the gun to take out the bad guy with the gun. 2 seconds. I pray we never have to experience an active shooter in this county, especially in another one at our churches. But I can promise you our deputies are highly trained and prepared to confront active shooters in the event that occurs. But please help us. If you see or hear something, say something before the active shooter arrives. We go through a great amount of training at the schools, and the goal is not to be the fastest on the draw in the church or the school. The idea is to get the intelligence ahead of time and never let the person show up to begin with. Never let the person show up to begin with. Let me say that again. Never let the person show up to begin with. If they show up and they're a nut, get them out. Get them out. Allow me to leave you with these encouraging words as a prayer over you and the family of congregation. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Thank you for your support of law enforcement in the community. I wish God's greatest blessings on you. And all of this church training, when you put a team together, and the team you put together, the beautiful law says you can carry your gun concealed. It says you can carry it open. I love my Second Amendment folks, but I do not believe in open carry of a firearm. All you're doing is broadcasting and giving your adversary the opportunity to see you create a plan and take away your surprise element. You can have this security plan in your church, cover your weapons so that the people that are not comfortable will never see the firearm unless you need it. And then when you need it, it's over in 2 seconds, and then they're singing everybody's praises. We will train this for free. For free. Now, if you have a small church, you go, I got 5 people, I'd like to come Saturday. Well, that's fine, but 5's not enough. Get with some other churches, and let's get a classroom full. And we start in the classroom. We teach. We take you out on the range. We shoot. We actually prepare you for your concealed weapons permit. You don't have to have it anymore. I still recommend that you do get it because that way you have reciprocal agreements in many other states that may otherwise not recognize that. But the whole idea is we can create that security plan. And we also talk about the other security plan. How do you identify this active shooter before they show up? This guy we arrested the other day, okay? I'm going to send information out. And we're going to do our best to get it out quickly. First, we're going to email it where we've got email addresses. Then we're going to mail it. We'll check and see if somebody can check and see if he's still in jail. We stacked him up pretty good with charges. He may not be out because he didn't look like he had a lot of money. I'm trying to keep him away as long as I can. But he will be out. If he comes to your church, he may just be a rambling idiot, or he may show up with a gun next time. Then have a system internally, an intelligence system. What's an intelligence system? Well, it's everybody with a cup of coffee around the table going, well, have you heard about this guy? Did you see this guy? You know, Martha's got this guy that's just getting out of prison, but he's a regular criminal. Has he threatened anybody? Or you have a school and you find out that somebody's threatening somebody at school. You've got to intervene. You can't ignore it and hope it goes away. Sometimes it will. Sometimes you end up with a big, big problem. Thank you very much for allowing me to be with you. It is truly my honor to be your friend.